I'm in search of conversation guests. If you are interested or know someone that might be interested, please contact me directly. Thank you. All right, Dennis, so tell me about what you do. You're a physical trainer and you run your own company?
Yeah, so personal trainer. I have a studio in Santee. It's called Wellness Studio of Santee. Mm-hmm. So it's the town I grew up in. Started out.
That's the town I grew up in too.
Right.
It's been like 20, geez, since high school, that's 20 years.
Yeah. I can't believe we had our 20-year reunion, and unfortunately we missed it due to COVID. But,
yeah.
Oh well, I was looking forward to that, you know, seeing some people like you who I hadn't seen in a while. But
yeah.
Anyway, it's hopefully we'll get there next year.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I started off at like 24-hour fitness. Just started there, and then did it for about 2 to 3 years. I thought initially. You know, I met the district manager like right away. I was like, this guy has it, you know, this is what's up. Seems like a good dude, got his stuff together, and it's going to be nice to climb that corporate ladder, right? And then I found out that probably within 6 months, he got demoted. And I was like, why did he get demoted? Like, things are going well at most of the clubs and that kind of thing. And unfortunately, 24-Hour Fitness is not the most moral company. You know, I don't want to bash them, but they unfortunately they don't give you a lot of room to climb. As soon as you climb, and you know, they kind of like can cut you if you're not making goals or whatever. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to be better off just kind of doing my own thing. So that's what I thought. I'm going to have an exit plan here, and within about 3 years. I think 3.5 years, I left 24 and started my own thing with another friend from 24. And we started Prevail Fitness out in La Mesa. It was just an old racquetball gym. So the owner, he gave us like one basically racquetball court. So we scrapped together some dumbbells and bands, and I taught him how to box, and you know, we ran with boxing classes and stuff like that initially. And we left 24. It was cool to like make our own money, charge the clients a little bit less, and it was a win-win for everybody. And so then from there, he wanted a spot in Rancho San Diego, and he went that route. He wound up going with a few other trainers. As soon as he left, unfortunately, that gym closed within 2 weeks. And I was like, well, dude, you know, feel free to come on back. You know, unfortunately, it's a tough market in the fitness industry because you get a big place and you have a lot of overhead, you know, so that kind of came down on the owner, and you know, she's like, hey, I gotta cut it, and unfortunately they had to close. But I invited him back. He still did a little bit of side training, and you know, took his own route. He now does like tattooing and everything. He was an artist, but for me, it was good to find my own spot in Santee. Came back. That's where most of my clientele was because I worked at 24 in Santee. So I held on to a good base from 24 and just kind of ran with that, referrals from there, and things went well. So. Yeah.
So did you start right out of like going from high school and then right into college with your degree, shoot, I forgot how to say the word, and I'm even blanking on the word.
It's kinesiology. I know it's
kinesiology.
Yeah, you want to spell it? It's like kinesiology, right? So.
Yeah. So did you? I remember in high school. I remember you were in football, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I have this vague memory. It's weird how like our memories when we're a kid, we just have vague memories of certain things. This is a totally tangent story, but I thought I remember I was in like, I think it was history class. I remember one day you walked in like kind of in the middle of class and you handed some papers to the teacher. And the only thing I heard some murmurs next to me. And this is probably not even true, so you could tell me that I'm crazy, but this is what I remember. Someone said, yeah, Dennis is getting like straight A's in all his classes. He's doing football, and he's gonna graduate early. So like the teacher gave him the test early so he could do it at home, and he doesn't have to come to class and all this. Does that all sound familiar?
I don't know. I know Kyle was our scholar athlete for football, and there was a few others, but no, I didn't get like straight A's. Maybe my senior year, right, when it was kind of just easy.
Oh, okay.
Freshman year was kind of a joke. You know, sophomore year, I started doing a little better, and then junior, senior year, I actually did apply myself, and I did do well. I got on roll and stuff like that, but no, I technically didn't graduate early or anything like that. I had classes, I had downtime, you know, where like I only had like 4 periods senior year.
Yeah.
We had like a work experience class, which was amazing. You go 1 time a week, right? All you have to do is hold down a job. And, you know, so that was like a period off for 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you carry that forward, the like going from football in high school and then in college and university? How did that kind of roll in with sports, fitness, and whatnot?
So actually, my senior year of high school, I quit football. I got into boxing, and that's where things really changed. That's where I found like a desire to actually become a trainer. I mean, I enjoyed football training and everything, and the conditioning was great. It got me in the weight room. I was a 120-pound freshman, so I was all about putting on size, you know, and looking at these bigger guys like, oh, damn, you know, you get rocked, you know. And my sophomore year, they put me up against a senior, and it was just like, right?
Oh, why would they do that?
So yeah, it was a little brutal initially, but it gave me the motivation to put on size and to lift like crazy, and that definitely, you know, set the base for becoming a trainer. And then so that was all about putting on size and everything. And then in boxing, they want you to lean out and cut weight, and which is tough, you know. The bulking and everything is fun, but losing weight is miserable for most people, you know, until you just kind of break that threshold and you start to learn to love it. And you gain that second wind and you feel good, and actually doing cardio feels good, but it is a tough process initially.
Yeah. How long did you do boxing for?
So I started senior year, and it was a little bit off and on between trainers and stuff, but about 2.5 to 3 years competitively.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I was I think just before 21, yeah, I ended up calling it good. You know, my last trainer was actually a Hall of Fame fighter. He was Terry Norris. He's a middleweight champ, like late 80s and 90s and everything. You know, excellent fighter. Actually beat Sugar Ray Leonard at the end of Sugar Ray Leonard's career.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
Showed me some amazing footwork, but unfortunately, he now has Parkinson's, and he was, you know, what they call punch drunk. He took a lot of shots, you know, a lot of battles, and it wears on you. And I looked at him, and I was like, this guy's in the Hall of Fame. You know, this is where it's at. And I wouldn't trade him, though, you know. Yeah. I wouldn't trade the Hall of Fame status versus, like, to just have sound-minded body, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's when I knew, like, it's good to get out early enough, you know, and keep your head. So yeah, but the conditioning was just awesome, you know, and the things I learned boxing from different trainers and everything was outstanding. My second trainer was actually the best. His name was Hector Diaz, and he was in high school. You know, in high school, my brother and I don't know if you remember Eddie from high school.
Oh yeah, Eddie.
Shout out to him, right? So
yeah, I remember. Man, it was probably 10 years ago now, I want to say. Me and him we got in contact probably over Facebook Messenger or something, and I invited him. Man, I think I was throwing some parties at the time. I tried to invite him to my parties, and he mentioned his boxing stuff, that I think he was too busy with his boxing stuff to stop by one of my parties, I think. So this was more than 10 years ago, I think, probably 12, 13 years ago. And for some reason, I think Jordan, he came to one of my parties and mentioned Eddie, and then we were talking about it, and he said, yeah, Eddie got pretty far. He He's doing amateur boxing, and he has his license for boxing, and he's doing some matches. And Jordan went to meet Eddie. He told me a story where he met Eddie one time, and they were just hanging out one night, had a couple drinks, and as they're heading to their cars, some random person came up, like, said, "I heard you got your boxing license. You wanna throw down right now?" And Eddie's like, "No, man, I don't want any trouble, man. Like, I could lose my license. Like, let's just walk away from this." And so the guy starts like squaring up and starting throwing, and he even started throwing some punches. And Eddie's like, this is Jordan's side of the story from what I remember. Jordan's like, yeah, Eddie just started dodging, like missed every shot, and the guy kept on throwing. And this is 12 years ago, so I'm assuming this won't hurt Eddie, the story. So Eddie finally got like pissed off and threw one single punch and landed, and the guy just fell straight down and got knocked out. And Eddie's like, "Dude, I wanted nothing, man. Like, you kept on throwing punches, and I don't want any trouble with any of this." And so they took off right afterwards. And Eddie was all afraid about losing his license. And
at that point, it's self-defense. You know, somebody's coming at you, and that's easy to,
Yeah, it's crazy to think yourself. How someone trained versus someone. I mean, that guy definitely, he shouldn't be throwing punches. It's just, but the level of difference from someone that trains and someone that doesn't, it's just, is huge. It's crazy.
It's a shame that people like that, get hotheads. They pick on people and everything. Look at a guy who tried to fight Tyson, right, in the street years ago.
Yeah.
Tyson broke the guy's facial bones. It's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So. Gosh. So you took boxing, or you went boxing through a little bit through while at college, it sounds like, and then how did you carry into like sports and fitness through college and after?
Yeah. So once again, so Hector Diaz, second trainer I ever had, he inspired me to just mix things up every day, and just an outstanding trainer. 18 wins, 16 knockouts, and on his way to a title fight, and then he was drafted in the Vietnam War. And at that point, he came back and never fought again. It was a shame.
Yeah.
So anyway, he made an outstanding trainer. I hope he's doing well. But we haven't seen him since. So. But anyway, like I said, so working out a lot with football was all about putting on size, and then boxing was cutting, So I learned both sides, and I thought, what a great way to make a career, And so I did. I got into San Diego Gas and Electric after college. I got an associate's degree and kind of went, okay, I'm accepted to San Diego State for a Spanish degree. I always had law enforcement in the back of my head as a kid. Tried that out after San Diego Gas and Electric. That wasn't for me. I came back, went back to school, got my kinesiology degree, and said, okay, what did I want to do before, right? I wanted to work with athletes. And so I started with that mindset, okay, I'm going to train athletes. Let's get these certifications going, right? And I got a sports performance enhancement certification after my initial certification, right? And I'm training people and everything. Some of the older ladies and stuff, or some of the deconditioned people, they don't want to train like I wanted them to, because it's pretty damn hard. And I slowly realized, you got to have some patience with these people. You got to ease them into it, build their confidence first, and then, but as a rookie trainer, you just want to conquer the world. You want to get those results, right? It was like the Biggest Loser was on at that time. You wanted to be just like those guys and see those excellent results. So why is Susan not calling me back anymore? It's because you made her do 100 mountain climbers. So anyway, learning the patience, and then I kind of fell in love with the general public, and getting Susie Homemaker to lose 100 pounds was amazing, stuff like that. So it's been a fun career. It's been 13 years now. So really enjoying it. Every day is a blessing.
Out of curiosity, what was you said you jumped into law enforcement for a tiny bit or tried it out. What was the experience, or how long did you try it for, and why was it not for you?
So I got accepted with San Diego PD. I took a job, as a police officer there. They put me through the academy, and I did the phase training. I wound up with the morale of San Diego PD wasn't so great at the time, and I wound up with a training officer at the end that I was kind of butting heads with. Unfortunately, if that happens, things can go real south. And things were being put on my eval that I didn't agree with. And I was just kind of like, well, they can fire you for basically officer safety issues and things like that. And they kind of turned like a radio situation into an officer safety issue. And I was like, well, it's kind of a stretch how things were looking. Anyway, I just kind of said, you know what, I'm going to bow out. I'm going to go with my friend over to Chula Vista. I had a friend who's a detective sergeant who was asking me to come over to Chula Vista initially. And after having lunch with him, I was talking to him about it. And he said, you kind of sound like you don't want to do it anymore. I said, you know what, I want to go back to school. I'll keep my post certification active, which is with law enforcement. And that way I can still come back to it. But I want to go back, get my degree. That way I'll get an extra 4%. I know your department in San Diego PD, they pay an extra 4% to officers with a bachelor's degree, at least at that point. And I'll get my Spanish as well. That's another 4%. I'll join SWAT, right? So I'll make more money doing that. I went for kinesiology with San Diego State. I was like, this is where it's at. I was just loving what I was doing. I let my post expire, and I said, just, roll with being a trainer. It's a lot of fun. I can create my own business out of this. And so it's been a blessing ever since. I got a lot of respect for those who put their life on the line and do law enforcement, especially in today's day and age. It's been very crazy with COVID and our riots on both sides now. Some crazy times. So my hat goes off to those guys. Best of luck to them.
Yeah, the last conversation I did was with a correctional officer, so a prison guard. And I asked him a question. I'm going to ask it to you. So this is totally not on the topic of your fitness training, but just for fun, since I asked him the same question. I've heard a statement where police officers, the type of people that get into that position, are often power hungry people. Now, I'm saying I don't know anything about law enforcement, and I do my personal stance before I make myself sound like a jackass by asking if people in that position are power hungry. I think that's a very important job. I think the government, in my opinion, is not doing a good job on handling a lot of the issues in our nation. But if a police officer is going to put their life on the line, there needs to be a lot of either training for them ahead of time and a lot of protection on them, but also, even on the other side too, people that are being enforced by, or people that are being the general public that the cops are dealing with, there needs to be some type of better handling. It seems like so.
Right. I think in education, is great, because a lot of people don't know what their training really is and what their use of force techniques are. And if we can, in my opinion, if we can just put that out there, like, if you come at an officer with a baseball bat, a knife, obviously a gun, if you don't do what they're saying, you're likely going to be shot.
Yeah.
And maybe killed.
Yeah.
I mean, they're training to, stop the threat.
Yeah.
And so if they feel that their life is in danger, they're going to say my life or yours.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're going to take they're going to choose their own life. So
yeah,
and
exactly.
A lot of people, unfortunately, that they encounter are on drugs or mentally ill. There's a lot going into that, and so my heart goes out to them, to those that are on, that wind up in those situations.
Yeah.
They're obviously going through some hard times, but if the public knows that going in, I think they're going to be more apt to listen to the police.
Yeah. Did you happen in your time with the police? Did you happen to see people getting involved to become a cop just because they're power hungry? Did that type of personality come out, or did you see that?
There are a few guys that I've seen, you know, that either made it, or there's even some that were in my academy. But there was a lot of good people too.
Yeah, I think the good people. It sucks. The bad people really impact the good people so negatively. It really.
Well, yeah. What's the press going to show? You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, talking to, you know, little Miss Nancy and helping her out with groceries and things like that. No, it doesn't make me care. You know?
Yeah. But just one more tangent. So with this, I know that your timing. Normally this is like a 3 hour talk, and we're going to aim for about 2 hours. The reason for that, I'll just say it because I don't think I've said it on my show yet, or podcast, whatever. I don't even know what to call this thing. Is I find that it's very difficult to lie for 2 to 3 hours. So what I mean by that is I'll watch like a TED Talk that's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes long. I'll watch interviews on the news or whatever platform. 15 minutes, so easy just to make your quick point, make it believable, and spread either, whether it be white lies, actual full-on lies, or it's too tough to break down what that person is saying. So for example, with what I plan for the next hour and a half that we have more, like as I ask questions about fitness, I want to see what you know about fitness. I want to know, do you carry your college degree with you? Like, do you actually use the stuff that you learn, and or have you been constantly learning through the years? Where I feel like if it's a 30-minute interview, it's real easy for you to, I mean, just alone, I mean, I bet you could talk about just your college time and starting a business, just the first like maybe 2 to 4 years of starting a business. You probably could talk for 30 minutes. So that's kind of a huge thing for me about this platform is there have been some people, I had a couple of friends that are like, oh, that's too long of a platform. You're going to lose people. And I say, I don't care. This is the format that I think that people can't lie.
Right.
I've seen some interviews that were 3 hours long, and the person, their point of view and the amount of research that they have for their angle, they're able to go 3 hours. But it's very rare for someone that I disagree with to make a good point for 3 hours. So
absolutely, yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah,
I initially thought that okay, like 2 hours is going to be a lot, you know, but I think we can cover that, no problem. So.
Yeah. Okay. So did you start your business right after college? Or no, you 24 for a couple years. That's right.
Yeah. So after the police department, I went back to school, and I talked to 24-Hour Fitness, and they said, yeah, like, you know, come out and you're going to school now. That's great. You know, we'll look at this as a part-time job. And I was like, well, can I actually make money with this part-time job? And the fitness manager, or actually the club manager out in El Cajon, he said, absolutely. He's like, look at this. You can stack these sessions. This is what you're going to make per hour, yada, yada. And I was like, oh, okay, you know, I can definitely roll with that. So I was going to school, and I was working at 24-Hour Fitness. They told me to like take about 5 to 6 months to just study National Academy of Sports Medicine. And so I did that, got that cert. As soon as I got that cert, then I was basically hired within, you know, a couple weeks. Did the orientation and all that. And I was working out at Santee 24. I had never been to El Cajon. However, I lived in El Cajon at the time. And then when that, you know, 6 months was up, I was actually moving back to Santee. I was like, well, should I hit up Santee? I kind of feel bad because El Cajon wanted me, but Santee's a much nicer gym. It's a sports gym. I'll probably get better clientele. And so I contacted them, and then there was a little fight between club managers, unfortunately. And, you know, they're like, oh, because the National Academy of Sports Medicine, it's considered a tough certification. And so anybody that has that cert, they want them, you know. So it was nice to be wanted, but, you know, and I didn't want to step on any toes, but I was like, sorry, I'll come home, you know, going to Santee. Anyway.
It's like being a hot girl at a bar.
Right? Yeah. But anyway, it was a good experience. Starting out in Santee, a regular sport gym. They got the basketball, the pools, a lot of decent equipment. So that was the start. And yeah, just going to school and working. So it was kind of like an internship, moving forward.
So you did that for a couple of years, you said?
So yeah, 24-hour fitness was about 3 years, maybe 3 to 3.5. I'd have to look back at like hiring date, 2007, right? In June, and I left in 2010, and that's when Jorge, my friend, and I started in La Mesa. We started Prevail Fitness. So that's cool. So
walk me through that.
Yeah, and at that point I had my degree. So it's like basically as soon as I got my degree, I was kind of like, okay, let's maybe make that move. Jorge had that set up with his landlord friend, and we're like, let's go. So, and we went from that little racquetball court to just a big warehouse. He wanted to do stuff with the racquetball courts, and he said, you know what, I have this like warehouse here right next to you guys, so we can move a bunch of stuff. And I was like, sweet. We went from like 400 square foot to 1,600 square foot.
Oh, nice.
And he said, same rent. We're like, okay, thanks. So $400 a month for rent was, nothing. That was a great way to start. And I was, and I don't know what Jorge was paying Chris, but hey, we'll take it. Because 24-hour fitness, they take over half your money as a trainer. You might rake in $5,000 for the month, but they're going to take $2,500. So
yeah,
and that's topping out. That's after you get into becoming a master trainer. A master trainer has 2,000 certification or 2,000 sessions and at least 3 certifications. So we have to renew our certifications every 2 years. So just some kind of continuing education. 2.0 CEUs is what we have to do. And so I went with a lot of continuing education with National Academy of Sports Medicine. I also got ACE, while I was working at 24. And ACE Fitness at the time was very, very general, and it didn't have a lot of good continuing education. But however, they're doing really well now. I think they've really stepped up their game. And they also have like a sports performance enhancement one that I recently took last year. And now I'm working on a golf one because I've done all sorts of different certifications. Let's see, I've got 3 nutrition ones. One of them through National Academy of Sports Medicine called Fitness Nutrition Specialist. I've got even an MMA conditioning one. That one's kind of fun. Corrective exercise, I highly recommend for any trainer coming into the industry. That was also through National Academy of Sports Medicine. Teaches you how to deal with injuries, and it's the basics of it are foam roll, stretch, and then light activation. You're looking at 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps, giving people that range, and it's just real focus on slow movement initially. Like if you have say like a knee injury, do you know what foam rolling is?
No.
Okay, foam rolling the technique is called self-myofascial release, and it's basically laying on a foam roll. So if I had my roll here, and I'm just like rolling my quad muscles slowly, it's going to, they call it self-myofascial release because in your body, around the muscle, you have this fascia, right? This tissue, and that gets knotted up as well as your muscle gets knotted up. So that's basically like rolling dough. You just roll that out. Right? So it's basically a self-massage.
Yeah.
So massage therapy, and then the stretching to lengthen the muscle, because it's going to get tight, right? It's getting bundled or whatever. And the corrective exercise also does a lot of assessments. So you do like postural assessments, squat assessments, a lot of things like that. So you look at, with that assessment, you're looking at, a lot of people have like one leg longer than the other. So one leg might bear more weight. So that's going to affect my hips. It's going to affect my back. It's all one kinetic chain, right? So with that tilt in the hips, we can cause maybe a tightness, you know, or a weakness in the other muscles. So I could have like a tight right glute and a weak left glute, you know, because that right leg is longer than the other, right? So it's going to bear more weight, so that's going to tighten the muscle. You know what I mean? And then the other one is going to be basically incompetent because it's just not being used as much.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to take people through strengthening with single leg or single arm exercises to just see what's your difference. I'll put people on a leg press. We'll do 2 legs. And, okay, that's great. Now let's try single leg. And you do the right one. It's smooth. It's good. And then you try the left one. Oh, this is really hard. It's amazing how much my left is weaker than my right. Because I do bear that. I bear the right leg. It's just a little bit longer.
Oh, wow. Is that strictly what you kind of learned in kinesiology during college, or was that something you just kind of fell into more as you did fitness training?
A little bit with college and a little bit with that, you know, the corrective exercise certification specifically. The corrective exercises, it's a good post-rehabilitation. You know, we're not a physical therapist by any means. It's a lot more. You know, I have to now you have to get a doctor to be a physical therapist.
Oh, wow.
Shout out to Carl Burris from West Hills. He did that a year under us. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Carl and I have worked together a little bit.
Okay.
And so because of that corrective exercise, Carl's, you know, working with some clients who obviously need physical therapy. And he said a lot of the times he can assess people, give people, you know, the actual homework to do. And then he said, you know, I'm going to probably throw them your way after that. So I'm going to get some referrals off of Carl, which is nice. You know, and yeah, make a good team. I'll also throw people his way if it's, you know, out of my reach. I have no problem saying, you know, hey, you know, go to Carl. This is beyond my knowledge, especially when we get into things like nerves. You know, I had Carl help my dad out. My dad has a sciatic nerve issue, and I'm trying to do research on sciatic issues. Like, man, there just seems to be not a whole lot online. Maybe Carl can help out. Carl did a lot of movement. Yeah, Carl did a lot of movement assessments and we call passive stretching, where he's actually taking my dad through like if this is your leg, he's, you know, you're flat, he's giving you that hamstring stretch and pushing a little bit farther. It's just basically stretching people out.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a broken talus bone. Do you happen to know the talus bone?
Yeah.
So I was involved. Yeah, I was involved.
Yeah. Some people pronounce it the talus. Yeah.
Oh, talus. Okay, no, I actually don't. I don't even know the. It's. I was been in a car accident, and I guess the impact in the front hit my foot, and it just shattered the talus bone. I actually don't even know how to say the bone.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, there's not a whole lot of information online on how to treat it, how to deal with it, even if there's a way to replace it. There was some company I found, some hospital that I found, I think in Chicago, that could replace it, but they said you have to have an x-ray of your bone before it got shattered. And that doesn't really, not too many people x-ray their bones before an accident, so.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, but the reason why I brought that up is definitely my right knee I feel like my right knee is taking all the workload for the left ankle, because the left ankle is the one that's shattered, so the right knee is, now I'm starting to, I feel a decent amount of pain or ache if I'm doing a long walk or something. So it's
okay.
Yeah.
When did you get in the accident?
About 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
And went through about, I want to say 6 months of physical therapy, and then I jumped. It was my ankle can't It moves. I could walk fine pretty much to some degree, and then But if I try to play racquetball, I jump back in like probably about around a year after the surgery, and there's a limp to it when I push myself,
Right.
and then it aches quite a bit. But I don't know. The aching was a bit harsh, and I even told my doctor, and he's like, you know what, for quality of life, go ahead and play. Maybe I'll see you in 10 years instead of 15 years, because with this type of injury, they probably have to fuse a bone eventually.
Yeah. Okay.
It sucks. But anyways, back to your stuff. So, or unless you have a question, but.
Oh yeah, I was just curious. Do they have you doing things like calf raises, standing on a Bosu ball doing exercises on that?
Yeah, they did, and then also the rubber band, the big I don't even know what it's called, like
resistance bands.
Yeah. And doing that and stretching it out, and then like moving with that band, like move the ankle like to the left, to the right, and all the positions. Yeah.
That's the key. Any kind of rehabilitation, that's what you're looking for, is, just mobility in all planes of motion, right?
Yeah.
And what can the joint actually do, and we're looking to just work that mobility as much as possible, right? If my shoulder hurts at that point, then I'm just going to keep working it till minimal discomfort, and get in the pool, for example, and do things like that where now, I can take it a little bit farther in the pool. Great. I can grab a broomstick and shoot straight up. You do things like that. Now I can get full range of motion. Great. And we're going to keep working that broomstick. And then, 2 weeks later, I'm here. Now that's painful. Okay. So, but we're making progress. So that's the goal of any kind of rehabilitation, right? Mobility, flexibility, massage therapy. So.
Yeah. What do you think about, like, with your kinesiology? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah.
Kinesiology. How do you think of it now that you've been in it for so long? Like, do people not really understand it very much, and they think maybe if you told someone about it, do they kind of think it's just, well, that's common sense, or is there so much to it that
there's a lot of common sense in it, basically, like, hey, if it hurts, don't do it, right? But does that mean that we just sit on the bench? Like, no. You got an ankle injury, as soon as you can do weight-bearing activity, or a foot injury in your case, right? As soon as you can do weight-bearing activity, start doing it. As soon as you can walk with, minimal discomfort, okay, good. If it's a lot of pain, obviously we don't want any setbacks.
Yeah.
So there's the common sense of it, right? You would think, but some people are like, oh, well, no pain, no gain, and they're going to push through. No, you have the structural damage, so we don't want to cause any more structural damage, but we want to. Maybe just some muscle burn is fine, right? So just finding that.
Yeah.
So obviously, the more the more detail we can hit, and you can get it as complex as you want. But the basics of it is just move a little bit till minimal discomfort, stretch it, massage it. Those type of things will help. It goes a long way.
If somebody has no idea what kinesiology is, how would you describe it and kind of go in depth with it?
It's the study of human movement. That's your definition of it, anyway. So, so that's basically what my degree is. The emphasis, when you go to, okay, I want to become, a personal trainer, right? You probably want to go the emphasis of physical education. That's what I did, right? So I could become a PE teacher if I wanted to with this degree, but I have to get a teaching credential. Which I thought about, and I watched my brother actually as he was becoming a teacher, and he was jumping through a lot of hoops and everything. There was a lot of just kind of busy work with getting the teaching credential too. And I was like, I'm making pretty good money just doing the personal training, and I like being my own boss. And so I decided I can always work with kids and do sports programs and stuff, and I can coach with this. And so I've done things like a strength and conditioning coach for. I did Poway, the girls volleyball team, worked with them for about 3 years. And then I did a season with Patrick Henry, their lacrosse team as well. So that kind of stuff. I get individual athletes coming a lot to, student athletes. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that was kind of initially what I was going for, was, trying to help those kids or adults, it's a lot of fun.
In college, so what for kinesiology is it? Are they teaching you the bone structure, how it moves, or the muscle, or the nerves, or all of it and everything?
So you're going to learn anatomy, right? So your basics, you got to, I mean, it's a pretty in-depth course. This is also like the nursing program. We had a lot of nurses in class. Good.
And I like that.
Yeah. So, you know, you're learning a lot of anatomy, bones, nerves, muscles. And so obviously I know what my, you know, career was going to be. And so my focus was mostly on the muscles. And then, you know, you're even, I don't know, you're even looking in a magnifying glass, you know, and doing some more complex stuff just at a cellular level. But I don't necessarily need that as a trainer, right?
Yeah.
But it's good to have the extra knowledge for sure. Then physiology is another class, and that you're looking at more of like what is the requirement for an actual like muscle contraction, you know? So you're getting into depth with that. We had kinesiology, just different kinesiology classes where it was more like sports performance enhancement. We had like development of, it's basically like a child development class where, you know, you're learning from a physiological standpoint of how a kid's growing up and how their muscles and bones and everything is changing. Like kids recover a lot quicker, right, than we do. If I break my bone, you know, it's going to be out for a long time. If my son breaks his bone, he's 19 months. He has what they call green stake bones, which is like a tree, like a green stick, right? It's got more pliability to it, right? It's actually more flexible and it'll heal faster. Ours, it breaks. It's like an old brittle, you know, to the extreme. But yeah, there was a lot of good material. There's obviously biology. We had some nutrition classes. Some physics are involved. The basics of it, anyway.
Yeah.
So I could read you my transcript.
What were your career goals when starting the business?
Starting out, like I said, with 24-Hour Fitness, I wanted to climb that corporate ladder initially, and then kind of found out, you know what, maybe that's not the way to go based on, you know, this poor guy getting cut from district manager to like club manager, and then hoping he can hit his goals and maybe get back to where he was. Unfortunately, like 24-Hour Fitness would fire people for, you know, strange situations, so they wouldn't have to pay them retirement. You know, you're talking like 15-year veterans that are just now like, this was my career goal.
I got an online question from Minh. He asked, do KT tape products really work? KT as in the letter K, the letter T? Are you familiar?
I think KT tape is great for a little extra support, and there's a lot of people who feel the same way. You know, if you haven't tried KT tape, you know, give it a shot. But I know it's helped me with my shoulder. I've had shoulder injuries in the past. So I had my buddy like take my shoulder, and we were just doing a lift that day. Felt good. It's kind of like, you know, giving your knee a knee brace. You'll have a little support.
Gotcha. Cory asks, what trends do you see coming in newer studies of methods of movement for health, rehabilitation, and rejuvenation, especially for aging populations?
I would say a lot more emphasis on things like the foam rolling, you know, massage therapy. You see a lot more chiropractic out there. You see a lot more physical therapy. Doctors they're getting more into movement than they were before. I remember when I was early training, and I heard this lady was like, squats, my doctor said squats are bad for my knees, you know, like I have knee pain. And I'm like, well, you have to get up and off the pot, right? You know, everybody's got to sit down on the toilet. You know, this is a functional movement. Mm-hmm. So the problem with what your doctor's saying is he assumes that you're going to do the squat wrong. If you're putting your weight back on your heels and less on your toes, your knee's not going to go over your toe. It's not going to stress out your knee as much. So it can pop up. You're using a lot more glutes, hamstrings, things like that, versus just quad domination and your knees going over your toes, stress out your knee. And that's why the squat assessment is important for any trainer, because you're making sure that knee doesn't go over the toe, that knee doesn't bow in, what we call valgus, or it doesn't bow out, which is called varus. Those are good technical terms there. So.
Yeah. What are you looking to make your business better?
Let's see. Moving forward with making things better, I feel like sometimes things get really busy, especially now. It's New Year's, so we got all the New Year's resolutions in and everything. I'm involved in corporate wellness too, and I'd like to kind of get more trainers in and more of a staff under me, because I have the work. I have a lot of people I can call and kind of get them going again. People who've laid off of training, and I know it's just a phone call away. Just, hey, how are you doing? Are you still working out on your own? No, unfortunately, the holidays got me, that kind of thing. Some people are battling old injuries too, and they're just, some people are depressed because of COVID or, just life, right? It hits us all. So you gotta check in on people, and it would be great if I could because I'm only one guy, right? I want to still help these people, but I can't be in two places at once. So, and I now got a little guy to watch for, and so trying to get that family balance and everything. And, it would be great to have some staff. So I'm trying to reach out to some younger college kids and trying to kind of encourage them. So I actually have an interview with one tomorrow. She just started out, had an interview with me probably 6 months ago or so. And it was kind of like, okay, you're not quite ready to come in and do the private studio training, because you don't have the clientele base, you can't pay any rent, right? But you would be better off in a big box gym like 24 to start there, build that clientele, and then come see me, maybe a couple of years. So, yeah, we'll see where she's at.
Yeah. What are some of the most interesting stories of people you've worked with, like where they come in wanting to get fit, and then with your kinesiology background, like say that situation where you said with one leg is longer? What are some interesting stories dealing with people?
Yeah, some people are really broken. I mean, I met a guy who fell out of a helicopter, right? And he's got a broken back, and he's
shit.
I mean, right? You get stuff like that. You get people who are just like, yeah, I broke this toe, I broke this this knee, and my right shoulder's jacked up, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, the helicopter guy, who's like a former BMX rider, he's an adrenaline junkie, he's a pilot, he'll buzz the tower and flip around, that kind of thing. He's still very active. However, we just had to watch out for, what we did. So I got him at a good point. I didn't get him at the physical therapy point, right? But we still had to be careful with certain movements. So I taught him boxing. I was like, yeah, he can't really run, and running is great, high intensity, high calorie burn. But for a lot of those type of clients, boxing is one of the best things. And it's great core training too. You're constantly twisting, turning, right? And you're working your core. And of course, we'll do some ab work at the end, right?
Nice.
So that's going to help stabilize his spine. Let's see, I've had a woman with a frozen shoulder, like I was saying, the shoulder, her range of motion is like that. And that's a shame, because you hear like, oh, I got a shoulder injury, and the doctor says rest at that point, right? Before they were into more movement and realizing like, you got to get people moving as soon as they have, minimal discomfort, right? That's what we're looking for. And then push a little bit more each week. So just gradual progression is what we're looking for. I've had people one guy, 6'5", 500 pounds, 470 pounds when I met. He started working out, he dropped 30, and I helped him lose another 100. And he's actually down to 256 now.
Wow.
He's doing outstanding. So, and he's on his own too. That's the cool thing, is like, after I helped him lose 100 pounds, he kept rolling, and he's like, hey, I want you to focus on my family now. I feel good. I'm doing my bike rides, doing my routine. I'm still cutting weight. I'm like, hey, awesome. So it's but those people need that strict diet initially. So he started on Metafast and got the ball rolling on there. And then, you know, you're starting to do body weight exercise when they're losing weight and they're able to do more reps and they're able to push harder. They're loving it. You know, he's like, I could tie my own shoe for the first time. Like, man, can you believe just not tying your own shoe?
Yeah. But
I walked in the door and I was like, damn, 6'5", you know, 470 pounds. Big dude. And he was hilarious. He was great to work with. He was like just a stand-up comedian. So that's the beauty of my job. I get to work with good people.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
What are some of the common stories that people come in with? They're just looking to lose weight, or they have a medical problem with, or a physical problem, medical problem with their shoulder, ankle, or something? Or what are the common things that you're helping out with?
Yeah, I mean, most of us have been banged up, you know, throughout the years. So we are all battling different injuries and everything. It's rare that I get somebody who comes in and, no, I have no injuries. And it's like, well, do you really? Let me know if anything bothers you throughout, you know. And most, oh yeah, I had this high school knee injury, you know, and they kind of reflect, oh yeah, you know, my right shoulder is kind of, it's clicking a little bit, you know, things like that. But most people, yes, most people are weight loss. Unfortunately, the typical American diet is high fat, high sodium, high sugar, right? And so,
McDonald's and Cold Stone.
yeah, but it's you know, it's good job security. So
yeah,
I'll get that way. But yeah, most people are weight loss. So typically, I start them off. You know, we'll look at some cardio programming. I usually give people total body fitness. We do an assessment the first day, just some basic movements. Let's see what you can do. Push-ups, squats, leg lifts for core, right? 2 sets, 10 to 15 reps, whatever you can do. But I'll take them through total body. We'll do chest, back, legs, abs, shoulders, biceps, triceps. Make sure everything can move, you know, correctly with good pain. Little to no pain in joints.
How do you start your day? What practices or rituals are involved?
Well, I love to start my day with a workout. However, my work is now, my 5 a.m.s are all booked up. So I don't want to get up at like 3-ish and work out. So I do find time, usually after a couple sessions, kind of mid-morning, I can usually get a workout in. But wake up, cup of coffee, because it's usually 4 a.m., you know. I'm pretty hurting at that point. So wake up, slam of water first, right? A lot of hydration, you know, better for the joints, muscles, the head. It just makes you feel better. A cup of coffee to get going, and banana. I do a lot of carbs. I was a big time runner. I say was, and it's only like 2 weeks where I really haven't run. I'm just battling a little knee injury myself, so I'm cross training a little bit more, boxing, rowing, etc. But yeah, I usually do like a bagel with butter, you know, because it's bulky enough. It has 8 grams of protein. A lot of people don't know that, and a decent amount of carbohydrates, which I will use, you know, throughout the day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of focus on the low carb diets, and it does serve a purpose for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who can't control their own carbohydrate intake, and you know, it's a shame. So the keto diet is good for people like that, or some of these lower carb diets. But yeah, and then I'm out the door. Start that first session. I like to do a little reflection. I'm Christian, so I try to read the Bible every day if I can, at least just a verse, and just helps me appreciate life and each day we're given. So
yeah, you mentioned the keto diet. Is that what you said?
Keto or like paleo or something like a low carbohydrate diet.
Yeah. What's your opinion on the keto diet?
So I'm not a fan for the general population, but I feel if someone does have a struggle with their carbohydrate intake, if they can't control how much they're actually bringing in, and they're not doing a high intensity exercise, then, you know, if they're doing mostly a desk job and they're not working out, raising their heart rate too high, I think a keto diet is great for a lot of people. It's a predominantly fat and protein diet, so you're like little to no carbs. I think your net carbohydrates for the day is like around 20. I mean, I haven't actually found out what the net carb diet is. I forget. But anyway, it's super low. So if you have like 2 pieces of toast, you'd be done. So.
Go ahead.
So that bagel would be like twice the, they're only
the daily.
half bagel for the entire day, right? So they got to pick and choose very carefully. A good thing about the keto diet also is it's no alcohol. So a lot of people struggle with just, I got to quit alcohol. If you do quit alcohol, your liver will help you out big time, but your liver cannot detox and it can't burn fat at the same time. Your liver is a fat burning machine. So if you can just not put any toxins in it, it's gonna do really well for you and burn some fat. But unfortunately, some of us can't stop that on the weekend or maybe during the week. I don't know. So.
Got an online question from Emmett. What do you know about testosterone replacement therapy?
Testosterone replacement therapy. So if you did like steroids back in the day or something like that, or took a testosterone supplement, you're basically putting in something that your body already regulates, right? My body's going to produce so much testosterone throughout the day. And then if I start going, you know what? I really want to hit that high school bench record. Let's take a test boost. And I hit it. Great. Unfortunately, after, I don't know how much time, but after enough time of taking this supplement, of taking a fake testosterone, or, it's, your body's not going to produce testosterone. You're actually going to counterbalance with estrogen to even out. So unfortunately, you're going to need to start taking testosterone supplements probably for the rest of your life. So you can boost your testosterone naturally by doing, lifting large muscle groups, and lifting at a higher intensity. So if you're doing legs, right, your legs are the biggest muscle in the body, chest and back, focus on those and that'll naturally boost your testosterone. There's a lot of markets for the testosterone supplement, and unfortunately it's going to hurt a lot of people in the long run.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I did not know that side of it.
If you get your testosterone checked and it's a low dose, you're naturally low, then maybe it's for you, but you just have to understand that it could be a lifelong process. So I had a fitness manager from 24 who did that. He was a bodybuilder back in the day. He took steroids, and now he's on hormone replacement therapy for the rest of his life. So,
wow,
it's unfortunate.
When you said the big muscle, if I heard you correctly, if you work out your big muscles, then there's a chance that it'll produce more testosterone. Is that
correct? Yeah, I mean, if you're lifting weights, you're going to boost your testosterone. If you go out on a run, you're going to boost your testosterone, right? But if you're working the larger muscle groups consistently, yes, that's your best chance of boosting your testosterone naturally.
So kind of and the glutes is the largest muscle, right? Is that correct?
Well, you look at your legs, right? And when you're doing things like squats or lunges, they're called like co-contractors, but you're actually working more than just co. You're working more than two, right? You got quads, you got hamstrings, you got glutes. So you want your glutes to be a prime mover in a squat or in a lunge and that kind of thing. The size of the glute versus like the size of the quad, I think the quad is longer. You probably store more meat on your quad. Don't quote me on that, but if I cut off my glute and cut off my quad, you can kind of look at that and go, okay. I think the quad bears a little bit more meat, but. Yeah.
So maybe I'll tell Emmett to do squats because that hits glutes and quads, and tell them to focus on that. So you.
Yeah, exactly. Get on a good progression, start light, build that endurance base, then go to strength where you're doing, a little less reps. But hey, let's start off like 15 to 20, just body weight squats are super light, and then we'll go 8 to 12, right? So typically I'll do like my endurance phases are 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps, right? And then you want to go more extreme endurance, you do like 15 to 20. Then we're looking at your, that'll kind of give you a good base, right? It'll teach you what your body's capable of. You'll have a good understanding of what you can do for that amount of reps. Then we're going to step up the weight, and you're going to go like 3 sets, 8 to 12. That's your typical hypertrophy stage, your, gaining muscle stage. And then you look at a max strength or power, you're looking at like 4 sets of 4 to 6 reps. And then beyond that, you can start adding sets. You can do 5 sets of 4 to 6 reps, right? They have like a lot of bodybuilders or, strength athletes love the 5x5, do 5 sets of 5. But first, start with that endurance. Don't jump right into heavy weight. You'll probably injure yourself. So,
for the testosterone thingy, I'm jumping back because I just had a thought. Like when you said the focus on the big muscles, and your body may produce more
estrogen.
So where's the estrogen come into play with that? How's that?
So like I said, your body will produce so much testosterone, so much estrogen, right, to even you out, So I just had a son, and they say having a kid will lower your testosterone, and it'll boost your estrogen a little bit, right? You're more lovey-dovey, you're just, you're not doing typically as much testosterone boosting. You're not, as motivated to lift weights or run or things like that. You got, more important stuff to deal with. So that testosterone drops, the estrogen comes in a little bit more. So that's why a lot of dads get that dad bod, right? You start doing less activity. You're probably not eating as well. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. So that's why I'm glad I'm still a trainer, and I'm glad I can still hold my own, and not go too soft and get that dad bod and, not have too much estrogen. So I hope that answers your question. If not, feel free to add.
I imagine this testosterone topic isn't one of your primary, it's not like one of your knowledge, what's the word I'm looking for? Like with kinesiology, it's not one of your top topics in there. No,
but it's definitely involved in fitness. And if you want to talk to a doctor to get more in depth,
if you go to a doctor and you do get tested for testosterone and they say you're at the bottom of the normal, is that because maybe this person hasn't worked out enough, or they're gaining too much weight, or maybe as a doctor is just saying that is they're going to be low even if they do work out? How does that work out?
Then in that case, it might benefit them, to take that testosterone booster. It's honestly going to be a bit of an experiment, but what I'm saying is typically that's the case. So if you're already, athletic and you're putting up decent weight and things like that, don't wreck what you're naturally given, and you'll feel like Superman for a little bit, but it's a temporary thing. You're also gonna hit like a hard crash, and that's why you see a lot of former steroid users wind up depressed, and alcoholics, and or drug addicts. And you look at the World Wrestling Federation, right? Look at all those former wrestlers that they're in rehab, because they did a lot of drugs. They're super depressed. They got flabby, but they went from Superman to a hard crash. So that's just your prime example. And a lot of them do need to be on testosterone boosters from now on.
Yeah.
Because they juiced back then. So
gotcha.
That's just my take. And, hey, maybe, it might be biased or whatever, but that's just what I know that your body it'll regulate itself. So
Yeah.
if you're too much testosterone, your body's going to naturally produce more estrogen, and it's, that's how it's going to turn you. So eventually the estrogen is going to come up once you stop taking that testosterone booster. And the thing is that it gets your heart rate. So a lot of these guys, they kind of realize, some of them have panic attacks or heart attacks. You gotta really listen to that. If you're taking testosterone boosters or you're taking steroids and you feel your heart is not right, let's go get checked. Maybe there's another alternative that a doctor can help you with. Gotcha.
What's your thoughts on heat packs? Is there potentially a wrong time to use it, or can it cause more risk?
I don't believe a risk, but it does relax the muscle. It's good for movement, right? If you do have an injury, I recommend ice initially, like first 48 hours, roughly. 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. It's called your acronym is RICE, right? Rest, ice, contraction, elevation, compression, elevation. But yeah, so you take care of that, do that 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off. After that, after probably about 48 hours, I would say go for the heat therapy, hot tubs, heat packs, and you relax the muscle. So there's different studies on doing like ice and then heat, like back to back too. And, the stuff I've read, typically you want to do the ice stuff first, but some people have seen results both ways. So they've gone from the ice and then the heat right away. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, the next question was, should cold packs be used more than heat? But it kind of sounds like it kind of depends on the person you're saying.
Well, I think it depends on the injury and what's going on there. So, but like I said, there's experiments kind of showing you both. So.
What is your perception of the Alexander technique for handling stress?
The Alexander technique I'm not too familiar with. Okay. I dated a girl who was doing that, but I didn't really dig too deep in.
Okay.
So you'll have to refresh my memory. Are you familiar with it?
No, I don't know it at all.
All right.
Okay, I guess we'll have to skip this one.
I think it required like a little bit more like breathing and meditation, as far as I know. So the question was on and muscle contraction. So in a way, somewhat like Pilates. As far as I know.
Yeah.
So, which any kind of yoga, Pilates, and the Alexander technique, it can definitely help. It's learning, isometric movements and contractions, and to control your body. I think it's very beneficial in that regard.
Gotcha. Back, one last question on the testosterone. Emmett asked, do you know of a good source of information for him to learn about testosterone, like a website, a book?
Unfortunately, I got nothing for him right now.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't recall like ever reading a specific book on just testosterone therapy.
Probably just Google it and see if YouTube has anything.
Yeah, I mean, you could, but look at the benefits. I wouldn't take a bodybuilder's advice, especially if it's in the game now. I might take a bodybuilder's advice after it was over, and somebody who has had that issue where, hey, I'm now flabby, and you remember Fight Club?
Yeah.
Bob had bitch tits in language, but right, that was a prime example, right? You got a bodybuilder.
How do you keep clients motivated?
Keeping clients motivated, sometimes people are going through stuff, mentally, physically, and you're just trying to tell them, hey, you do what you can. Some days people come in and they're not feeling like they can kill it like they did last time. Like they got a new wattage record last time, and they were just on fire, right? Well, hey, sometimes they at least come in and do the bare minimum. At least is better than nothing, right? So it's always always a challenge keeping some people motivated. Some people are just coming in and they're on fire every time. Great, so recommending proper sleep, nutrition, and your previous training. That's usually going to dictate your energy. Some people need a little help from, say, B vitamins will help boost your mood and your energy. Maybe you need just a cup of coffee or a better playlist on your phone. If you don't like my playlist, I'm sorry. Let's throw yours in the mix. So that's the beauty of running a private training studio. You can rock whatever you want. So, but yeah, all those factors can be uplifting for a lot of people, and also seeing their progress and have a goal. They're just kind of going through the motions typically, but if they say, I want to run a 5K in a month now. Okay, well, you're at 2 miles, so we can definitely do that. Let's make some SMART goals, something specific, measurable, attainable, right? Reasonable and timely, right? Those are your SMART goals. So if they're only running a mile and they want to run a 5K next week, it's probably too soon. Let's start with maybe just a mile and a half. So taking the gradual progression so nobody gets hurt and they stay motivated and on task. So.
Minh asks, he's prone to calf cramps during 4 to 8 hours of volleyball. How to prevent this? So he plays volleyball very often. I think I think up to 4 times a week, and he's pretty active. So he's decently in shape. I do remember when I was playing racquetball a lot. I mean, I was playing 3 times a week and sometimes 2 to 5 hours a session. And then back in the day, I used to get calf cramps a lot too when I was playing basketball. I used to play basketball back when during high school and college days. I was playing some ridiculous amount of 4 to 7 days a week of basketball at 1 to 4 hours, between 2 to 5 hours each session. I was playing a lot of basketball, and often my calves would cramp up too. But for me, one of the biggest things back then was I actually didn't have the right size shoes. I have my shoes are size 6.5 quadruple E wide. So I didn't know quadruple E back then. I didn't know anything about wide shoes, and I was buying like size 8.5 shoes to get, because my feet are as wide as a 9, but they're
yeah. So all the small muscles in your feet are probably like contracting and kind of freaking out, and that's gonna just kind of shoot up to your calf, right? So
exactly.
So you're a lot better after that, huh?
Yeah, I bought wide shoes, but even about 5 years ago when I was playing racquetball, my calves will lock up a lot. A lot of people were saying eat bananas, but my theory after kind of going through all that, I think it's conditioning for 5 hour sessions. I think that was the key thing, actually, thinking back on it. I don't know. So if you want to play comfortable for 5 hours, you almost have to train for 8 so that your body's ready for 5.
Performing at that level, right?
Yeah.
That's what I like go ahead.
That was something that I'm jumping on a tangent, but it's related. For a while back in about 10 years ago, I was biking to work, which was a 12 mile bike ride to work. And it was funny because I did that for like an entire year, I think, and it was never easy. It was never easy. Like I would make the 12 miles, but it was always at the 11th mile, my body's like, I can't do this every time. And then it wasn't years later when I thought back, it's like, I should have trained for 15 miles if I wanted to make the 12 mile be easy.
Sure.
It wasn't until one day that I did a 2 mile bike ride and I was like, oh gosh, this is ridiculously easy. So it was thinking that, if I wanted to make the 2 mile, if I wanted to make the 12 mile as easy as the 2, I should have been doing 15 or 20 miles conditioning.
Right. So at a slower pace, and build that base, and then it's almost like a sprint, for your performance.
Yeah.
So that's true. Absolutely. Conditioning is huge. For the time being, for the temporary relief, the electrolytes, making sure he does calf stretches. So I prefer, if you don't mind, can I show you the calf stretch?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, so yeah, things like just taking a Gatorade in. Bananas help, yes, they're a great source of potassium. You could also do avocados or tomatoes, also have some decent potassium. So you're driving the heel down.
Yep.
Like that. And that's going to just stretch the soleus and the gastroc, your two calf muscles.
By any chance, are you by any chance able to bring the iPad just slightly down so I could see your...
Sure thing. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, yep, that's perfect.
So if I drive both heels down like that, stretching both calves, however, I usually like to isolate, and I feel like I can get a deeper stretch.
Okay.
So I'd hold for a good 20 to 30 seconds. He's got some pretty tight calves. So things like that, foam rolling your calves will definitely help. And then taking in,
Yep, I see you.
Taking in enough water and electrolytes.
I think that was probably one thing I didn't do when playing racquetball was like massaging the calf much. Looking back, I wish I would have tried that to see if that would have helped. What would be, so stretching, electrolytes, and I was drinking a lot of Gatorade, so I don't think that was an issue. I was eating a lot of bananas. I was actually, as far as I remember, I looked at coconut juice has more potassium than bananas, so I was drinking a lot of coconut juice.
There you go. Yeah, Body Armor is another good one. That's got a good amount of potassium. It's got more than a banana does. So
electrolytes, stretching, and then I think the other one is conditioning much further than what you're going to use it for. Meaning, if he's playing 8 hours of volleyball, he's going to have to condition for 12 hours, I think. That's my theory.
Yeah. It maybe just 9 or 10, might do the trick. But yeah, if you want to, make sure and have that extra insurance for 12 hours, sure.
From your opinion on that, say 8 hours of volleyball, and then you said something like kind of light, when you say, I think you said light working out for 9 or 10 hours, something, or if I'm saying 9 or 10 hours, you said a light workout. What would you describe as a light workout for preparation in volleyball in that case?
So what I'm saying is basically for, so you could look at like jogging, you could look at anything that's basically going to build his calves. So jogging, basketball, jump training, all these type of things stairs will also help his calf development and conditioning. So, and he can mix that up. Jump rope is good too, but he could do something like a 20-minute stair workout, play basketball for a half hour, right? Go run 3 miles, all this is still working his calf and keeping him active. And yeah, he'll adapt, it's specific adaptation to imposed demand. It's the said principle.
Yeah.
Right?
Huh, it's
your body will adapt,
Yeah. So Minh also asks, how often can range of motion with pain be connected to muscles?
It depends on the injury, but oftentimes that's the way to go. Like I said before, the self-myofascial release, right? The massage therapy, massaging all the muscles around that area will definitely help the joint, because a lot of times the muscles are tight around the joint. And so that's going to pull on that joint or pull on that bone, and that's what's going to cause the pain, right? So if we can massage that out, we can stretch it and lengthen that muscle, that's going to cause it to be more pliable, and you're going to have less chance of injury.
Gotcha. All right, what's your honest opinion of chiropractics, acupuncture, masseuse guns, and importance of stretching diet? Wow, there's a lot in there. Let's go with chiropractics, acupuncture, and masseuse guns. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, chiropractics. A lot of people were like, "Oh, they're a bunch of quacks" and stuff like that. I think chiropractics are great. There's, if you find the right ones, right? Certain ones might be quacks, but I mean, you have to have a doctor at this point to do it. So they've got a good knowledge base, as long as their stuff is real. So resetting a spine, sometimes that's just a temporary fix for a lot of people. Some people need that. And they can move right. At least that might be temporary, but then they can work on themselves, right? And they can work on their conditioning. And if they're feeling good without pain, their body's going to adapt to that stress, and they're going to be stronger and more stable. So in that sense, the chiropractics is great. My wife's rib fell out of place on Sunday. Yeah, she had a rib pop out, right? So we had to go to the chiropractor. She was in a lot of pain. And so she had to lay like this, lay back, and just vertebrae by vertebrae, and then they just pop and put it back into place. And she was feeling better. So, it's something that's happened to her in the past. It hasn't happened in a long time. But once again, she needed the chiropractor, and there he was, and she was feeling better within like an hour or two. So,
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of benefits. She needed it. As for acupuncture, I've actually never had acupuncture before, but if you look at the biased perspective of this, I had a client who gave his dog acupuncture, and his dog was limping before and then not limping after the acupuncture. So does the dog know what acupuncture is? No, but
yeah.
Obviously, something helped the dog there. So a lot of people believe in it. Some people don't. Hey, it's open to you. Experiment on your own.
Yeah. And then
if it hurts, if it hurts too much, don't do it. But
yeah. What's a massage gun? I actually don't know what that is. Is that a?
They're advertised on TV a lot, so it just seems like a constant pounding right on the muscle. So I don't know. I haven't done a massage gun yet, so I really don't know. But I do believe in massage therapy. To each their own. You can experiment on your own. Once again, I don't think it's going to cause any damage, so it should be pretty safe.
What advice would you give a new trainer just starting out?
I would say get a decent certification. Don't go with one of these like weekend certs, where you can just take a quick test and it's easy and get started, because you won't really be able to spit the science or have a good base, and you'll likely end up injuring somebody if you're not careful. So education, experience, start off with maybe training just friends and family, and for a cheaper rate. Get your lingo down, get your practices right, learn the SWOT assessments, find your niche, find what you feel you're going to benefit from most. Maybe it's older people, younger people, if you want to work with youth athletes, and learning to market to those populations. If you're like me, you're more well-rounded. I like to work with everybody. So whether it's an athlete or a grandma, I'm happy to take them in and work with them, because I had that background, right, with the corrective exercise and sports performance, enhancement, and just being an athlete, all my life. But some people are like, a lot of females go, I just want to work with women, and that's cool, or I want to help moms, who just had a baby lose some weight and things like that. So people are so focused on the nutrition aspect, and that's 70% of it for most of us for weight loss anyway, right? It's huge.
How do you juggle a work and family balance?
So I didn't do a great job of that initially. My wife's like, you need to be home more. It's like, okay, like, who do I cut? It was tough. It was like, what are we going to do here? COVID hit, and that's actually been a blessing on my schedule. I've taken basically Wednesday nights off, and people understand. I got a little guy now, so I'm home early on Tuesday and Wednesday. But before I was working like Monday through Friday, and it would be like a 6 or 5 a.m. client all the way till like 7, 8 o'clock at night. And so it wasn't a lot of balance then, but I feel gotten that under control now, and things are looking a lot better. There's less travel time, so we all have to find that, find what works for you, and obviously family first.
Do you see that with COVID and the kind of the online video conferencing, are you doing a lot of video stuff with working out with a client through video?
There's been a lot of FaceTime and Zoom sessions. With a lot of the virtual stuff is, been a big help. So especially during COVID hit, and it was like, oh man. I worked with Johnson & Johnson, and a lot of their scientists, have done the virtual training. I've got a few others who do as well. But that's all I was doing for when we initially hit. I shut down for 6 weeks, like I think most people did. And after that, it was like, oh, what's going to pay the bills? We gotta do something here. So I was offering, hey, I'll wear a mask, you wear a mask, we'll do business train, and we should be safe. It's worked out well. So no one's got COVID in my studio. I haven't got COVID, so knock on wood, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How's your personal opinion on the doing training over a video call? Like, is it not as fun? Is it harder on them?
In person is definitely more beneficial, in my opinion. But to each their own, like whatever your comfort level is, we can still knock out a lot as long as your camera angles are good. Some people like their music in the background. Typically, there's not as much energy as, hey, we're live, we're in person. And maybe that's just my own personality. I like seeing you in person and knocking that out. I feel like we can relay more. I can see more typically when, on someone's form, for example. But, hey, you know what? I'm blessed to have Zoom and to have FaceTime, because it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. Has there been any slight surprises on how beneficial it's been, or whether you're surprised how well some people do on a video call working out, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've got no big surprises, I guess, but people have done well. I've had one guy, once COVID hit, he's like, I'm not going out to the restaurants and stuff, so I'm eating better, and he actually dropped 19 pounds. So
wow.
Great. He's like, I lost the COVID-19, right? But, yeah. And I had another woman who had that same goal, right? And she lost her 19, and she's actually lost another 5 beyond that now. So she's 24.
Nice.
Great. Yeah.
What time do you get off vacations being your own boss?
Let's see. It's kind of tough, because being your own boss, you're not going to work, you're not going to get paid, right? So unless I have like that staff under me that's still making money, and I can get like kind of almost like a residual income, for doing something like that. But so I basically got to bite the bullet. But I love travel and I love vacation, so definitely still going to do them. If you can make enough throughout the year, set aside for the vacation, great. So my wife and I are supposed to go to Hawaii in May. End of May. We were hoping that everything was going to be good to go by then. Maybe the vaccines would have been rolled out. We'll see how things go. We got Southwest, so it's reschedule.
Yeah. What habits do you have that greatly impact your life?
My habits that impact my life, obviously, with the movement, and all my workouts, I feel it's just a great detox. Whatever we put into our bodies, we can expel that bad stuff. My practice on, keeping God first, helps me big time. Constantly, asking for wisdom, and I think it just keeps me in line. So those are basically it. Keeping family family right up there with God, right? You know, so, and staying true to yourself.
What do you know of Vietnamese culture?
Vietnamese culture. So I've got you and my mechanic, and, but I don't have a whole lot of Vietnamese friends. However, you know, I've gone and had some pho before and been to Vietnamese restaurants and everything. I do enjoy the food, and I know they're hardworking people. I've had friends who've gone to Vietnam and said, "Yeah, you gotta go. You know, it's definitely worth it." And it would be really cool to explore Vietnam. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite Vietnamese dish?
Favorite Vietnamese dish is probably pho with spring rolls, like a chicken pho or a shrimp pho. You know?
Yeah. Do you put in the hoisin sauce, the brown hoisin sauce?
I have, but I'm kind of, I don't know, on the fence. I could go either way, really.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, what do you know of cryptocurrency, and what do you think of it?
God, I watched like a little bit of a Instagram thing on cryptocurrency. It's, you know, it's not my thing, but, you know, to each their own. So I really have a minimal knowledge on cryptocurrency. You know, I know the Bitcoin, and there's a few others out there, but how about you?
Oh, I love cryptocurrency. I'm huge into it. I think it provides an innovation that this world has yet to ever have. That's how big it is. Decentralized consensus is something that's the piece of cryptocurrency. Now, that is part of blockchain. So blockchain is the technology underneath it all. So any cryptocurrency that correctly implements a blockchain, when I say correctly implements it, there's different ways to program it, and people may program it to their benefit, but the correct way, I don't know if I want to say the correct way, the best way to do a cryptocurrency and a blockchain is it to be fully decentralized with a consensus mechanism where nobody could tamper with it. So it's an amazing technology that where I think as transformative as the internet has been, and we've seen how it's affected everything that we have. We have smartphones with the internet now, where every question that you have, you could just ask Google. You don't even think about, back in the day, we had a Britannica encyclopedia, I think it was called.
Yeah, right.
And encyclopedias used to be a thing. Back in the day, I mean, it's changed the world so much with computers and internet. I think that's actually where blockchain can be. I don't know if humans, it's kind of like, I'll say it's an amazing tool, an absolutely fantastic tool that's brand new. Until humans find a way to incorporate it and use it for what it can truly do, it's up to humans. It's just a tool. It's like if you have a hammer in your tool shed and you have a bunch of nails and you don't know about that hammer, you might be trying to take a spoon and trying to hammer down those nails. Right. But it's such a innovative technology that humans, I don't know where it's going to take us in the near future. It's that amazing. But it's for humans to, I hope, adopt. I'm huge into it. I hope it brings the next wave of amazingness to technology for everyone. Right on. Yeah. Well, yeah. I take it you invested, huh? Oh yeah. I have, and it's doing pretty good. But I think to some degree, where some people think, whether Bitcoin at 35,000 or Ethereum, where that's at 1,300 right now, where people are like, oh, that's so much money for one coin, or you could buy a fraction of a coin. And really the other thing is barely anybody knows cryptocurrency. Barely anyone truly understands it. And then even there are enough people that heard about it, but they still don't understand it. So we're so early in this phase of adoption where I view cryptocurrency like where, say, if someone came to you in 1992 or 94 and said, hey, there's this company named Google, do you think I should buy some? That's where I'm at with Ethereum. I'm big on Ethereum more than Bitcoin. I actually don't really care for Bitcoin that much. In my portfolio, I only have like 2 to 5% of Bitcoin, while I have 90% of Ethereum. So if someone said in the 90s, should you buy Google? That's how I feel with Ethereum right now. Yeah, you should buy. Right now, $1,300 sounds like a lot of money, but if you buy in 1,000 now or $500 now, maybe it'll jump to you'll 10x or 20x or 40x or more your money in the near future. But it's more. It's also more about the technology than just making money. Yes, making money is so important for everyone, and that's a huge thing. Like I like being in it, but at the same time, I really like being in it because as I make money, or if I make money off of it per se, it's also benefits everyone to be in the system, because this decentralized consensus is something that we could put into having less corruption with the government. If they implement blockchain with voting for a president, and you have a private ID that's unique and nobody can hack it, then you wouldn't have this issue with Trump saying, "Oh, I won the election, but it was So things like that would be awesome. What do you think is the biggest problem nationally and or globally? What should humans do to fix it?
Well, I'm gonna throw my biased opinion out there and say we need to move more, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think we live in this concrete jungle. I've been saying that word a lot lately, but so many of us sitting in an office, even just careers, I think it sucks that as a programmer, the more I learn, the more money I make or the more time I spend in it. But that doesn't mean I'm more healthy because I'm spending more time on a computer. Like, I feel that if I were to go to work, if I were to be sitting in a cubicle, and then I come home and then I do some more research on a new programming language, or I learn more about programming, whether it be to whatever it is, UI development, graphics design, to add on top of programming. So I'm sitting more at home, sitting more at work. It's not healthy for me. But it sucks. I do make more money. So our world is kind of not conducive to moving more. So go ahead.
Right. Oh, no, yeah, and that's a great point, because I look at a lot of clients that, they're killing it. They're making a lot of money and everything, but, their back hurts, their knees are wrecked, and they're not moving as much. And once again, like my Hall of Fame, trainer, would I trade them? And I look at that and I go, no. I'm happy that I can move, that I can play ball with my son, and stuff like that. Especially in the future, like if I could play high school ball, I could play basketball with my son when he's in high school, for example, that would be amazing. I know my dad couldn't do that, so that's priceless in my opinion. And so I think it'll help us to just be better people if we could be as functional as possible. And I think that going on another tangent, I think unfortunately, a lot of us are losing the family aspect in our society today, and we're losing God basically. And that doesn't mean necessarily a Christian God. It could be Buddha. It could be whatever you practice. If you're Mormon, whatever your practice is, it teaches us a lot of good discipline, and I think most of us could really benefit from just seeking that wisdom. I'm not saying one religion is the way to go, but I think a lot of us we need that structure. And unfortunately that's faded, and as a result, the family life is faded. So too focused on the dollar,
Yes.
We shouldn't worship the dollar, but we should worship God in our family. Be thankful for what we're given. Move more and be better people.
Yeah. Okay. So this next question is a bit of a joke, but it's Steve asked online because he's referencing Joe Rogan. Do you know about the Joe Rogan podcast? And so Joe Rogan often asks his guests, "Have you ever tried DMT?" So, have you ever tried DMT?
DMT. I've seen Joe Rogan and I enjoy his podcast. However, I usually kind of go past the advertisements, but I don't remember DMT.
Okay, DMT is just a psychedelic, like ecstasy or. Okay. So, anyways, that's just a funny question.
I'm drug free.
Think of at least one person you know personally that should do this conversation with me and call them out.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Steve, so I'll throw out Steve. His ability to, he's created his own charger off of laptop batteries for his Tesla, right? So I thought that was pretty amazing. And so if you maybe want to sit down and do an interview with him, just kind of pick his brain on that and the stock market. I don't know if he's into cryptocurrency or not, but that might be a road you can travel down. You know, he's a bit of a nerd too, so he's you know, it might be a fun conversation.
Awesome. Oh, so Steve. Yeah. Wow, you guys keep in touch, or
yeah. We've been friends since junior high. You know.
Awesome.
So yeah, still great to get together with him and just watch some sports and stuff. And we go to spring training every year. Unfortunately, that's not happening this year because of COVID. But we went to Vegas many times, you know, together and just good travel buddy, good sports buddy, you know. So yeah.
Awesome. Any other names by any chance, or that one's a pretty good suggestion? That sounds like
comes to mind. Let's see, Carl Burris might be good if you want to go down the physical therapy route.
Okay. Awesome.
Nothing right now, but
okay, cool.
I'll throw you, you know.
Yeah, and then I think the last thing is plug yourself. So how would someone contact you? Should they go to a website? Should they call you if they're interested in? Actually, I should almost more importantly, what services specifically do you provide? What services do you provide?
Okay, so obviously personal training via in person or FaceTime or Zoom. So if you do the virtual thing, nutrition counseling. Let's see. So boxing, weight training, weight loss, cardio programming. I've got a certification in running, basically. So it's like I was actually going to become a master trainer for Dr. Jason Karp, who's the owner of it's a running certification anyway. And he's got a great program. He does like a 7-hour workshop where he just talks about running for 7 hours. It's broken up a little bit, you get little breaks in there, but it's great knowledge base. I appreciate all he's done for me. It's unfortunate that I haven't ran in a couple weeks because of my knee, but I think it's a great certification manual.
Okay, and then and then how should they contact you if they're interested in your services?
I'm sorry. So with that, either call me 619-806-9504.
Okay, and we'll have that information in the video description also. And
excellent.
Then do you
have a website as well?
Yep. Go ahead and say it.
Wellness Studio of Santee.com.
Okay.
So spell that out. We can add a link, I'm sure. Right?
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, man. It was a
Absolutely.
good talk.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Len.
Okay.
Take care, buddy.
All right.